Good. And so now Allah speaks in the Quran and He speaks of a town. Does He mention the name of the town? No. Because you got to think. And He says, أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم وحرام على قرية أهلكناها أنهم لا يرجعون. A town has been destroyed. Allah destroyed it. The people have been expelled. Allah expelled them for their wickedness. And having expelled them, He placed a ban on them that they could never return to this town to reclaim it as their own. Kabhi nahi. Which town is this? And then comes the second ayah. Hatta إذا فتحت يأجوج ومأجوج وهم من كل حدب ينسلون. That the people of this town are banned. They can never return to this town until Allah brings down that barrier. And Gog and Magog are released. And when they are released with their indestructible power, they spread out in all directions and therefore they take control of power in the world. Is that so difficult to understand? When that happens, then these people will be brought back to this town from which they had been expelled. There are many ways by which we can recognize the town, but unfortunately, we prefer to eat biryani and go home and sleep. It is so sad. And no matter how much I lecture and lecture and lecture on this subject, they say no, we prefer to eat biryani and go home and sleep. And even after tonight's lecture, they will still respond the same way, but not you and not the young people in this country. The young people in this country will listen to me and say, if they refuse to think, leave them away and go forward. Leave them aside and move forward if they don't want to think. That's how the young people in this country will respond. One of the first ways to identify the town is that the Quran identified it. The Quran explains Qarn. Which Qarn is it? Is it a horn or is it an age or an epoch or people? So the Quran again explains the Qarya. It is the Surah Al-Baqarah, around 257, I think. I just checked it out. And Allah speaks about a town. And a traveler is passing by the town. أو كالذي مر على قرية وهي خاوية على عروشها. A town which is lying in ruins. And this traveler says, I don't know, how can Allah ever revive this to life? It's destroyed, finished. And then Allah caused him to die for 100 years. And then raised him back to life. And when he came back to life after 100 years, how long have you been here? Maybe a day or part of a day. Okay, look at your food. Lam yatasanna. I don't know if it was biryani. The food is still fresh. Abhi tak taza hai. Now look at your donkey. The donkey starved to death. the flesh of the donkey rotted, bones remain, and then the bones turn to dust in 100 years. So Allah then caused the donkey to come back to life to show him how he can bring life back to the dead. And the commentator of the Quran, Ibn Kathir, confidently declares that this town is Jerusalem. Here's one example of the Quran using the term Qarya for Jerusalem. Your homework now is to go and search the Quran. I have to give you some homework. And see where else in the Quran has Allah used the word Qarya. And the commentators of the Quran have recognized it to be Jerusalem. So we can use this method to identify the Qarya or town as Jerusalem. There's another way we can do it. And that is that this town is connected with Gog and Magog. Because Gog and Magog are going to be the ones who will bring the people back to the town. And Gog and Magog belong to Alamat Sa'ah. And proper methodology is to take all the Alamat Sa'ah as a whole and see what is that which binds them together harmoniously. And when you take all the Alamat Sa'ah, all the signs of the last day, in which Gog and Magog are located, and to see what is that nucleus, that central power, central figure around which all the rest of Alamat Sa'ah revolves, it is the return of Nabi Isa alayhi salam. وَإِنَّهُ, when you recite the Quran in Surah Al-Zukhruf, you'll find the Quran that you have now in your hand saying, وَإِنَّهُ لَعِلْمٌ لِلسَّاعَةِ. Oh, really? Ilmun lisan. You know what that means? That he is the knowledge of the hour, which implies that the knowledge of the hour is with him. He is the knowledge of the hour. Not he is the sign of the hour. He is the knowledge of the hour. That the knowledge of the hour is with him. And even the Christians predict that. Even the Gospel says, the Son of God does not know when the last hour will come. Only the Father knows. That's what in the Gospel today, up to today. Only the Father knows, the Son doesn't know. So if the Gospel is telling you, you're reading the Quran wrongly. Because the ilm sa'a is only with Allah. Only with Allah. So it should be read the other way. There are two ways of reading it. Two ways. Many verses of the Quran are like that. They admit of two readings. Either وَإِنَّهُ لَعِلْمٌ لِسَاعَ or وَإِنَّهُ لَعَلَمٌ لِسَاعَ. Obviously, this is the one that fits. وَإِنَّهُ لَعَلَمٌ لِسَاعَ. He is the sign par excellence of Akhir Zaman. So Gog and Magog have to fit with the signs of Akhir Zaman, which all revolve around Nabi Isa alayhi salam. And so the Qarya has to be a Qarya which fits also in this link to Akhir Zaman. Which Qarya it is in the world which is linked with Nabi Isa alayhi salam? Is it Washington? No. There's only one city in the world, important city in the world, connected with Nabi Isa alayhi salam, and that is Jerusalem, where the temple is located, Masjid al-Aqsa. And he went into the masjid, and he turned over their tables, and he chased them out of the masjid, and he said, you've taken the house of Allah and transformed it into a den of thieves. So this is the second way of identifying the town as Jerusalem. Okay? There's the third way of identifying the town as Jerusalem. We said that This town is connected with Gog and Magog. Because it's Gog and Magog who will bring them back to the town. So we take all the ahadith on Gog and Magog. All of them. There are 11 in Sahih Bukhari, but there are total about 51 completely. And see whether in any of these ahadith is there a link between Gog and Magog and a town. Yes, there is. Yes. When Gog and Magog are released, they will pass by the Sea of Galilee on their way to Baytul Maqdis, Jerusalem. Do we need to go further? Or have we already established now to your satisfaction? That when Allah says, وَحَرَامٌ عَلَى قَرْيَةٍ أَهْلَكْنَاهَا أَنَّهُمْ لَا يَرْجِعُونَ, that the town he's speaking of is Jerusalem. And when he spoke about the people the town was destroyed, it was Jerusalem, and the people who were expelled were Banu Israel. And then a ban was placed on them. For 2,000 years they could not return. So when you see the Jews being brought back to the Holy Land, now listen to me carefully. The Quran is speaking now. When you see the Jews being brought back to the Holy Land, to Jerusalem, to reclaim it as their own, and those who are bringing them back are people who use power to oppress. You know that Gog and Magog have been released. And it is Gog and Magog who have brought them back to the Holy Land to reclaim it as their own. We have to stop now. It's time for Salatul Maghrib.